Hello everybody. Looks like the gauge says it's empty. Let's take a walk into the kitchen and see what's in the fridge today, guys. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews. Today we got us a beer from Schlafly, or St. Louis Brewery is what they're called, but it's Schlafly's Double Bean Blonde. This is sent to me by Shane. It is a 6.3%er. I don't see, yeah I do, it's right here, it's 25 IBUs. So this should be very easy drinking, should be very nice. The blonde beers are nice summertime beers. This was done a little earlier than springtime. This one has a date on the bottom of the label of February the 11th of 2016. And it's 6.3%. So sounds like Shane has the same problem I do here in Virginia. The beer distribution, evidently where he's at, sucks like it does where I'm at. We get beers here that are 3 or 4 months old before they even decide to put them on the shelf. So it sounds like my brother Shane's having the same problem out there. And like I said, these guys are out of St. Louis. Been there, been to the tap room several years ago, and they have some really tasty beers. I like what Schlafly does. Very tasty. And I can get some of their beers here, but I'm not seeing this one. I don't usually go out and search for the blonde beers because they're a little lighter on the taste for my palate. Great transitional beers, or great lawnmower beers as I call them. Something very light that you could sip on and be nice and refreshing. But this one's a little heavier at 6.3%. And commercial description on this one says, brewed with Ghanaian cocoa nibs and blended with a toddy of Tanzanian beans, roasted by St. Louis's own Caldi's coffee. This luscious golden ale delivers the unmistakable flavors and aromas of coffee and the smooth richness of chocolate. And both of those flavors are very unusual for a blonde beer. So usually those flavors are reserved for your darker beers, your porters and your stouts and stuff. So an interesting combination for a blonde beer. So we'll see what this one brings. Like I said, Shane sent this to me. He sent me a big box of beers, and there are some bigger beers in there that's going to keep for a long time. And a couple, 2 or 3 or 4 of them were a little bit on the older side. Pale Ale and IPA and this Schlafly. Figured it's better get them out of the fridge and get them reviewed as quick as possible. So we're going to go ahead and review this one too and see what it is, since it was bottled in February and we're into the middle of June. So let's see what this one brings to the table, guys. I've read you the commercial description. Food preference for this, it says Italian, Middle Eastern. Cheese is peppery, Monterey, pepper jack, and the meat is fish. Glassware, pint becker, 9-tumbler mug style Sidell. I'm going to use my favorite glass today, and it says here not recommended for extended celery. So let's see what we got. Nice little hiss on this. And for a blonde beer, 6.3 is a little bit on the heavier side. Most of the blondes are in your 5% range. They're made to be easy drinking and very light on the palate, very crisp, refreshing. Something you can come in, have 1 or 2, and go back out and do what you were doing without being inebriated or face down like drinking a 9, 10, 11, 12% beer. So, like I said, lawnmower beer is typically what I call these. Very light, very crisp usually, very easy drinking, and lower ABV. But this one's a little on the heavier side at 6.3. So, about a half finger of head while I was flapping my gums. Semi-cloudy. I can see the light through the bottom of the glass. A nice tangerine color. Let's get a nose on it. I am getting the coffee. Now, it's definitely unusual to see a lighter beer like this and you get coffee aromas. Definitely getting the coffee. There's no doubt about it. And it's unusual to me because, like I said, usually the darker beers that are brewed with coffee, very unusual to have a lighter, even a blonde beer that's brewed with coffee without having some little darker color and stuff in it. So, very interesting. And that's basically all I'm getting, guys. I'm getting roasted malt and coffee in a blonde beer. Very unusual. Well, let's taste it. Smells good. Cheers. Cheers, Shane. Thank you. Wow. That has unbelievable coffee notes, and it's 4 months old. Just imagine what this tasted like with coffee in February when they put it in the bottle. It would probably blow your head off with the coffee amount that would have been in there. Because coffee will fade over time, just like hops does. But this is pretty damn awesome. If I was blindfolded, I would swear this is a dark beer. And I'm looking at it, that ain't what I just tasted. There's no way that's got that much coffee in it with that being that color. But it's there. No doubt about it. And like I said, guys, these guys at Schlafly make some really tasty stuff. I am blown away by how much coffee I'm getting with this beer being 4 months old. Very impressive. Wow. Very surprised at what I'm tasting at this beer. Like I said, Shane sent me a big box of beers, and some of them were Imperials and other kind of barrel-aged stuff. And those beers are going to keep for a long, long time, guys. Not a big deal. But he did send me some stuff, an IPA and a Pale Ale, and this beer that was done in February, and I was concerned, and rightfully so, because the hops fade over time, guys. It really does. And so I seen this one, and then it's a blonde. I'm going, probably ought to do that pretty quick. So I went ahead and got that out today after doing 2 of his beers yesterday and the day before, and said, well, let's go ahead and get this one out since it was done in February too. And pleasantly surprised. This one has kept quite a bit of the coffee aroma, being a 4-month-old beer. So very tasty. Very nice. It's right out of the fridge, 40 degrees. Let me take it and let her have a couple sips out of it. This is going to blow her mind too, having that much coffee in there and being this color beer. Usually you get those in your coffee porters and coffee stouts. Not a blonde. Very unusual combination. Very interesting. I'll be right back. Hey guys, I'm back. Been sitting up for a little while. Gave a little bit to the other half, and she couldn't figure out what she was drinking. Very unusual style to have coffee. Not getting a lot of chocolate in this beer. The cocoa nibs are just not shining through to me. But the coffee's there. Definitely getting the coffee. But the cocoa nibs, I'm just not getting, even after it's warmed up to room temperature, I'm just not getting the cocoa nibs. That may be because of the age of the beer, being 4 months old. I wouldn't think they would have faded. I would have thought the coffee would have faded more than the cocoa nibs. But very unusual style to have coffee and cocoa nibs in a blonde beer. Very unusual. Like I said, if I'd been blindfolded, I would swear I was probably drinking some kind of coffee porter, because it's got a light mouthfeel to it. But looking at the color of the beer, then getting those tastes of the coffee in there, very unusual style, no doubt. I'm sure when this beer was fresh in February, and maybe even March, the cocoa nibs may have been a little bit more present, and I'm sure the coffee was definitely more present. But I'm still getting quite a bit of coffee in this beer, being 4 months old. So very unique beer, very tasty. Final chug. Very strange example of a blonde. So Schlafly does some good stuff. It really is tasty beer. I don't think it's to the A category, guys, but I think it is a good beer, especially if you're into the blonde style and you like coffee. Something a little lighter in a taste, but this one being a 6.3, it's a little heavier than your typical 5%. lawnmower beer to me. So, to me, guys, I'm going to give this a 7, which is a B+. If I was putting a numeric rating on this, it would probably be an 88 or 89, somewhere in that area. So, over to Beer Advocate, they say 88. Imagine that. So we're in agreement there. That's about where I would put it. And over to Ray Beer says overall 88 too, and 99 in the stock. I don't think it fits the style that well, being coffee and cocoa nibs and a blonde beer. Very different. Very, very different. Not your typical blonde beer. Not your typical blonde tasting beer. But if you like coffee and you like blonde beer, this is a good combination of them. So that's where I'm going to put it. B+ from me on this one, guys. Thanks again to Shane for sending this one to me. If you've had this one from Schlafly, they're a double bean blonde. Let me know what you think, guys. And come on back tomorrow. Let's go see what's in the fridge.